Alexa, stop. Sorry, sometimes she just plays stuff. Nah, that's not true. It's an Allman Brothers kind of day here at Casa Hartness, Casa de Falstaff. Hi, I'm John Hartness. This is another episode of The Writing Life where I talk about what it means to be a professional writer. And I guess this is our Writer in the Time of Cholera edition to throw a little homage to Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is, I don't know, what are we? Week 2, 3 of week 2 of a lot of people in the United States being on lockdown, and week 3 here at the Hartness household, because let's face it, being on lockdown here isn't a whole lot of change from every other week. I was talking to my sister and said, "Hey, are you still working?" And she said, "Yeah, I gotta still work," because she is part of a supply chain to get things to people. She now has an upper respiratory infection and isn't working, so hope she feels better. And she said, "What about you? You're going to all these conventions." And I said, "Yeah, I already didn't have a con planned between the 8th of March and the middle of April, so I've left home 3 times in 3 weeks." And the only big difference for me is I don't get to go out and play Magic 3 or 4 times a week, and I miss it. I miss it a lot. I like hanging out with my friends. I like slinging cards, but this video is about how you as a writer can stay creative and effective when the world's going to shit, when we are in a time of pandemic. That's not an arguable thing. It checks all the boxes for a pandemic. We're in a time of crisis. A lot of people are getting sick. Some people are dying. Some friends of mine are sick. And it's scary. It's a scary time. A lot of us are scared. A lot of us are worried about our family members, about our friends. I don't often associate with a lot of people who are in high-risk groups, but those of you who still have elderly parents or grandparents, that I guess you're not seeing grandma for a while. And just being stuck at home when you don't typically work from home is a big adjustment. For Susie and I, my wife, when I first started working from home, it was a solid year before we were able to get any kind of balance in how we interacted, because she would just come into the office, "Hey, since you're not doing anything," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm writing. This is job now." And for writers, that's tough. It's difficult to set those boundaries when you're freshly... Oh, sorry. My chairs are really loud, and that's just a thing you're going to have to deal with, because good office chairs are expensive. Fat guys require good office chairs, and I'm not spending any unnecessary money right now because the world is kind of topsy-turvy. So I'm going to have squeaky chairs. So for the newly professional writers, if you've been laid off because of this, or if you're just now furloughed, stuck at home, you're not working from home, but sorry. Look, ADHD is real, and it means that I'm easily distracted. I took my drugs, but I only took them like half an hour ago. So they won't be taking effect before this video is over. So here's some tips for the newly professional writer for how to work at home and how to work at home when your spouse and kids are at home. I know I've got friends who typically work from home and all of a sudden their spouse is at home and their kids are at home, and thank God they're your kids, because I would have sold my children many, many moons ago. 1, get some times locked in for when things happen. When you're new to this, set up some scheduling. I'm not going to say get up at 7:30, get your shower, cook breakfast, behave just like you've got to be in the office at 9 a.m. and be at the computer at 9, ready to write. Nah, I mean, one of the best things about being a writer is you don't have to punch a clock. But for the first few months, get up at a reasonable hour. Maybe it's 8 instead of 7. Maybe it's 9 instead of 8. Screw it, maybe it's 10. I don't care what time you get up, but set yourself a time to get up. Take a shower, brush your teeth, put on clothes, put on pants, socks, shoes, just like you're going to work. Unless, you're like us and you don't wear shoes in the house, because we just got new floors and we're trying to keep them nice. But you get my point. Go through the motions that your body has trained you means you're going to work. Then follow a little bit of a schedule. Check email. Give yourself some time to screw around on Facebook, just like you did at the office when you were sitting there, first cup of coffee, got your bagel, you responded to your critical emails. Now it's time to goof off for 15 minutes while the boss is taking a dump and you're off. I don't know how long it takes your boss to poop. I don't care either. Leave that shit out of the comments. Then you've got your time to screw around on Facebook. Then, when it's time to write, shut off your browser. Shut off your notifications. Close your email application. Put your phone in a drawer. Or turn the ringer off. Shut off the distractions. If you typically write to music, pick a playlist to write to. I usually do write to music. I write best to music. And for me, it's a different playlist for the style of thing I'm writing. I write to a lot of Enya. I write to a lot of Clannad. I write to the piano guys. I write to Lindsey Sterling. I write to a lot of that. And I write to a lot of Rob Zombie, and I write to a lot of Jason Isbell. I do everything to a lot of Jason Isbell because he's a national fucking treasure, and if you don't listen to Jason Isbell, then you should. Go now. I'll wait. So if you write to music, start your music. If you need silence, put on headphones. They don't have to be plugged into anything. But that's an indicator to your spouse and your kids. Hey, I'm focused on this thing. Leave me alone unless it's important. Sherilyn Kenyon once told me that her kids have instructions that if the office door is closed, unless the house is on fire or there needs to be an ambulance, they're not allowed to open the door. I don't know how serious she was, but probably pretty serious. I don't have a door on my office. When we redid the floors a few years ago, the carpet was too thick for the door to open, so we took the door off and we've never put it back. And now it's under the house and probably rotted because that was 20 years ago. Not that you care. Sorry. Edit for sniffles. Allergies, man. I went out for groceries this morning and my truck was yellow. So set a routine. stop for lunch. Not just stop for lunch, stop for a lunch break. You may now be able to do what you've wanted to do forever. You may be able to sit at home and write all day. Yeah, resist the temptation to sit at home and write all day. Take breaks. Let me show you something really important. This is super important for you to do several times, like at least once an hour. Stand up. Get up out of the chair. I forget this, and I can find myself stuck on the computer for 4 or 5 hours. It's so bad that I'm probably going to set an alert for Alexa to remind me every hour on the hour to stand up for a couple of minutes. Stand up. Do some free squats. Do some stretches. Do a couple of jumping jacks. I'm not ever going to do a jumping jack unless there's money involved, and it's not an insignificant amount of money. But you have to move. So when it's time to take your lunch break, take a break. Get up. Leave the office. Leave the room where you've set aside to work. Sit down with your spouse, with the kid. Hey, what have you been doing this morning? Hey, how's your work from home going? Hey, did you get this lesson done? What lessons did you do this morning in your school from home? Hey, let's watch an episode of Criminal Minds or Letter to the King, whatever that new Netflix Letter King thing is. Watch, spend 45 minutes chilling out. Then come back and work. Same thing when you come back. Take a few minutes, reply to emails, check Facebook, check in, look at your phone, check your messages. Then maybe do some administrative type tasks. Check your social media, post to Twitter, post to Facebook, watch some idiot talk on YouTube about how to be a better writer at home when you're not used to doing that. Make a YouTube video yourself about how you're dealing with being quarantined. Take an hour and spend an hour either on doing social media promotion or on researching social media promotion. It is perfectly acceptable for you to sit at your desk in your home office with your feet up, reading on your Kindle if you're reading something that is relevant to what you're doing. I do 5-minute book reviews every Friday. That means that I'm reading during the day. Sometimes I am just sitting on the couch reading a book. Last week, I spent a good chunk of the week sitting on the couch reading a book because that Crown of Shards trilogy by Jennifer Estep was really, really good. And I read the whole thing in about 5 days. I only got one video out of it, but damn, I got 3 really good books in. Don't be like that. Be better. But then, once you've had that hour to work on your social media or work on your other writerly stuff, because it's not just about putting words on the page, then go back. Write a little bit. You don't have to write 10,000 words a day. You don't have to write 5,000 words a day. You don't have to write 500 words a day. You don't have to write a goddamn thing if you don't feel like it. If you are stressed out, freaked out, worried, concerned, don't write. I spent quite a few days last week where I didn't write a single word. I edited video, I uploaded video. I read an entire high fantasy trilogy. I looked up air fryer recipes for bratwursts. I did other things that are effective. Writing is only a little piece of the job. All of those dreams that you had about being able to write full time, yeah, you probably got more words done when you had a day job because you wrote every chance you got. If I write for 2 hours a day, it's a really good day. I shoot for 2,000 to 3,000 words a day. The way I do that, I break it up into chunks, and I do a lot of other stuff. You have to take the time to find what works for you. But if you're new to working from home and new to the professional writer gig where there's nobody telling you that things are due right now, then hopefully these tips will help you. Don't think that you have to get 2,000 words a day. That's my word count. I have 3 or 4 ongoing series plus short stories that are due. So that means I have a lot of things on deadline. If you're working on your first or second book, you have a lot fewer things on deadline. You can take your time. You can take more time. You can't take Pat Rothfuss time. Only Pat can take Pat Rothfuss time. Pat, stop taking so much Pat Rothfuss time. I want that book too. So there's 15 minutes, actually more like 18, of me giving you a few tips on how to make the transition from not working at home or not putting up with other people when you're working from home to being a full-time writer. So I hope this was helpful. I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to do a video here in a few minutes about how to be productive writing, how to get words on the page when it feels like the world's on fire. So you'll probably, I don't know, you'll see that either tomorrow, next week, whenever I feel like scheduling it. But I am going to try and get new content up here every Monday and get back to these writing life videos. So be good to one another, be good to yourselves, and stay safe, stay healthy.